Thalassophobia is the fear of deep bodies of water. What's really down there? More than 99.999% of the global deep sea floor has never been seen by humans. We know more about outer space than we do about our own oceans. Maybe that's why every culture has stories about merfolk. The oceans and even the depths of lakes and rivers can be so mysterious. We don't know what is truly out there. So today, let's dive into the depths and learn about the Angolan merfolk, Kianda. But first, make sure to like and sub so that you always get notified when I drop a new video. Kianda is a spirit who rules over the water and is fond of great trees and of hilltops. This quote comes from the Mythology of All Races, Volume 7, and is one of the earliest references to Kianda that I could find. The full paragraph this comes from explains that Kianda is a class of spirits. A quick Google search for Kianda will reveal websites calling Kianda a goddess, but it seems like Kianda is a plural word for merfolk, and these merfolk are deified but are not a singular entity. Now there are mermaid gods around the world, but I think that Kianda is more like Mami Wata and occupies a gray area between deity and species. Some sources claim Kianda were created by the supreme god of Bakongo and Teke mythology in Angola, Nzambi Mpungu. Kianda also comes out of the animistic beliefs of indigenous Angolan mythology. The quote from Mythology of All Races reflects this. Kianda is a manifestation of the waters of Angola, not just the ocean, but of all the bodies of water in Angola. The name seems to be in mermaid, but I couldn't find a scholarly source confirming this. The official language of Angola is Portuguese, but Kianda doesn't come from that language. In Portuguese, the name for mermaid is Sereia, so Kianda must come from an indigenous African language, possibly the Bantu language Kimbundu. There are a number of variant spellings for Kianda, which are on screen now. One term, Kazimbi, reminds me of Basimbi, which comes from a Bantu language as well, but I could be reaching. I am not a linguist and don't really have any qualifications to do this stuff. I just really love mythology, so I'm going to keep doing all this. So anyway, it is possible that Kianda is similar to or is a type of Basimbi, and I'm going to put a pin in that and return to that idea later on in the video. We don't know a lot about Kianda. One thing we do know is that they are given offerings, which is a recurrent motif in mermaid folklore. Water is dangerous, and so it's common for people to give offerings in an attempt to make the water safer. On screen is a painting by Jorge Gumby called Offerings for Kianda. The painting is fascinating, but unfortunately, as far as I can tell, it doesn't show us what Kianda looks like. One thing we do know is that they are all female. Based on all the other myths in the area, I think it's possible that they have a human upper body and a fishtail lower body. But we also have a myth from Angola's Dololo Lake that might show Kianda in a human form. I talked about this in a previous video, but I'm going to go over it again here. Dololo Lake is the largest lake in Angola, and it has a haunting story attached to it. There used to be a village on the shores of Dololo Lake. One day an old woman appeared in the village. She started knocking on doors, begging for water, but no one would give her any water. When she arrived at the last house, she knocked and asked one last time for water. A little girl answered the door and gave the woman a cup of water. The old woman told the girl and her family that the lake was going to flood the village and that they needed to leave. The family left the village as it began to rain. The Dololo Lake swelled and overflowed. The village was swallowed by the lake, and everyone drowned except for the one family who were kind to the mysterious old woman. It's said that you can still hear the voices of the villagers in the depths of Dololo Lake. Was the old woman a Kianda? What happened to the villagers? Did they become Kianda? Is that why they can be heard in the lake? Are they ghosts? It seems they were drowned as a punishment for their lack of generosity. This could tie in with the other myths we have of Kianda. People give Kianda offerings. The cup of water could have been an offering, and the others refused to give an offering, hence their punishment. That is all the lore we have on Kianda. If anyone knows more about Kianda, please share in the comments. Also, going off script here, I had to re-record this multiple times because my cat kept making her collar ring and make noises at the exact moment I tried to record. And then I would pause it and she'd stop, and I'd turn it on, and she'd start ringing again. Anyway, let's get back to what we were doing. So now, I'm going to start speculating. Based on everything we've learned about the mermaids of Africa, I'm going to connect the Kianda to Onegegi, Mami Wata, Mingu, and Basimbi. Onegegi are female river mermaids with the upper halves of women and the lower half of fish from Yoruba mythology, specifically in the countries of Nigeria, Benin, and Togo. In my previous video, I combined them with the Zen, water spirits, and Songhai mythology in Benin, Algeria, Burkina Faso, Ghana, Mali, and Niger. Mami Wata, whose name means mother water in Creole, an English-based African Creole language, are female water spirits from Central African mythology. They have a lesser-known male counterpart, Papiwata, Father Water. Mingu are beautiful gap-toothed mermaids from the folklore of the Sawa, Bakwiri, and Subu of Cameroon. Lastly, the Basimbi comes from the mythology of the Congo people, a Bantu ethnic group that speaks the language Kikongo. The Congo people originally lived in the Kingdom of Congo on the Atlantic coast of Africa, but now reside primarily in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Republic of Congo, Angola, and Gabon. They are female and most likely have fishtails. All of these myths might be describing the same species ranging across Northwest and Central Africa and the Atlantic Ocean. I'm not going to do an illustration for Kanda because I think they probably strongly resemble Onegegi, Maiwata, Mingu, and Basimbi. So a dark-skinned, primate-like upper body with long black or brown hair, black eyes, gills, and lungs, and a brown fishtail. Check out the other videos in this series to learn more about the speculative biology. I have two theories about the merfolk in Africa. By merfolk, I specifically mean humanoid upper body and fishtail lower body. There are other creatures in this series, like say Ninkinanka, who I'm not counting here in this specific listing. In one theory, Kianda, Onegegi Zin, Mamiwata, Mingu, and Basimbi are one species. Then we also have Africanus drum / water people, Africanus nomo, Africanus spileon / ketket, Homar sectus / mambamutu, India drano / kitanusi / champandrano / jalsafafendrano, and Catus orabu, so 7 species of merfolk. The second theory is that we have those 6 species I previously listed, plus Africanus Zin / Onegegi / Zin, Africanus wata / Mamiwata, Atlanticus jingu / Mingu, and Atlanticus simbi / Basimbi. So 10 species, maybe 11 if Kianda is also its own species. I think both theories are equally plausible. Many related species overlap in different ecosystems, each living in their own unique ecological niche, so that could perhaps be happening here. Kianda is the last of the freshwater and merfolk of Africa, as far as I know. I've tried to be as thorough as possible, but I'm also always doing research, so I could always return to this if I find another merbeing. Now I'm moving to the third freshwater merbeings of Africa, beginning with the Tuareg Elas Molen, protector of sacred hot springs. In the myths of the Tuareg people in the Sahara, Elas Molen is a giant red-furred monkey who guards hot springs. He is a protector of children, and no spear can harm him. Although Elas Molen appears to be a singular being in the myths, he may be a member of a race of giant simians, as yet unidentified by science. Until next time, Fae folks, stay safe. You never know what may lurk in the woods.